So Mike Chalice, my man, shout out to you, buddy. So the physio on our team, Mike Chalice, you know him from the forum as well. And maybe some of you already had a consultation with him. If not, if there's ever an injury, you can go over to revivestronger.com, physiotherapy, and then actually back a consultation with him. Anyway, this is not what I want to talk about. This vlog is about a working day as an online coach. Let's go. So most of the time I'm starting things off with actually doing my client check-ins. So I go over the client check-ins, listen to them, of course, then I'm replying, making some notes, making some adjustments already, right? And then I'm recording the video for each and every one of my athletes. They then sometimes get back to me with some feedback that I've asked for, or they have some additional questions that they wanted to ask me. Or basically when there's something that they are unsatisfied with, or it could be that they have some other questions that they didn't think of before recording the check-in, and then they are asking it then after they've received my update. So that already takes up a huge chunk of my day, something like 3 to 4 hours or so for the majority of my days where my client check-ins are taking place. This is from Monday to Thursday. I've done it in the past that I worked on the weekends and did some client check-ins on the weekend, but I only have one client left on the weekend simply because I transitioned slowly away from that due to the family. I want to have the time available for my family on the weekends, and that's why I decided to actually make room and space free on the weekends and try to squeeze all of my client check-ins into the week, because let's face it, this is the normal working week for the majority of people. Now that I have kids at home, have a family at home, I also want to have the weekends available to my family then. So my typical client check-ins, they take place from Monday to Thursday, as I already mentioned. And on Thursday, I'm going to always record the improvement season together with Steve. Then on Friday, I'm going to do a lot of editing on the improvement season. And if there are any kind of other editing things, such as, I don't know, for presentations for the membership side, other podcast recordings, I don't know, whatever it is, I'm doing it most of the time on a Friday whenever I find time throughout the week. But from Monday to Thursday, it's primarily only client stuff, such as what you can see right now. Today is Tuesday. I'm in the midst of doing my client check-ins. After that, I'm then going over some mesocycle programming for the next mesocycle then. And after that, it's throughout the entire day answering some client emails. Every now and then there are questions coming in. If there are some uncertainties about something, clients actually can always reach out to me if something is unclear to them, or where they need me as support or as someone who's just guiding them through the things that they have problems with, whatever it is, right? And yeah, right now, once again, in the midst of client check-ins, and then after that, it's about programming new mesocycles, setting up new mesocycles for lots of new clients. And yeah, that's basically the normal structure. So right now I'm in the midst of preparing a couple of mesocycles then for the week after this one. So most of the time I'm actually preparing the next mesocycle in a deload or the week before the deload, because then you should already have enough data collected. And if not, then always then in the midst of the deload where you then can reflect upon the last week of the mesocycle. Additionally, because of the overreaching week, maybe haven't been so demanding on the person or individual, that you then have to reassess and reevaluate the entire information and just the entire situation. But most of the time, the longer you have been working with an individual, you kind of know what works for them and what doesn't. And if something comes up, then this is more something that is not really anything that is happening on a frequent basis. So let's just say that one mesocycle simply didn't work out, but it was very similar to the other mesocycles. Then most of the time, an external stressor actually took place. Some other external factors happened, such as, I don't know, split up with your girlfriend, moved houses, kids were sick at home, whatever it was, right? But most of the time you can already prepare the next mesocycle week number 4 or the last week of a mesocycle or latest in a deload. And that's what I'm doing right now. I have a calendar over there where I'm tracking where my athletes are so that I have a good overview of when it is that I need to come up with a new mesocycle. So, and this is something that I would recommend to any online coach out there, not just online coaches, but coaches in general, to have a calendar in front of you where you are tracking the progress of your clients in order then for always have the mesocycle ready on time, because you don't want to be the coach where the clients rely on you and then you don't have the mesocycle ready. And that happened to me, but this was more so by accident and because my calendar was kind of not correct. But now I have it actually figured out quite nicely. Of course, there are also times where I'm then, of course, having to set up a new client. So this week on Monday, I had a consultation. So someone booked in a consultation with me. That consultation was about 30 minutes long. There we discussed things about the training, nutrition, their goals, their desires, what it is that they came to us in the first place for, then how we can help them, and possibly outcomes and realistic expectations, all that kind of stuff we are discussing in the initial consultation. And then it takes me around 5 to 7 working days to come up with a training protocol for them. I'm recording a startup guide video for them, and this is also what I have to do this week. I'm not as far into that as of yet, and probably you're not going to see that kind of procedure because I'm recording this vlog on a Tuesday, but this is something that will definitely take place here this week. And then I'm sending everything over to that individual probably on Friday with a finished program where I'm then also discussing everything in the initial startup guide video, where I'm going through the entire nutritional setup, the training protocol, and what it is that we need to do on a weekly basis then, so that they are all set up in order then to move forward without hopefully any kind of questions. And if they still have some kind of questions, once again, as I already said earlier, I'm always there for them in order to pester me. Now, it's not that really, it's not, and I'm not just saying that, but it is. So in the past, I've done a lot of occupations, and most of them, they actually started from out of a hobby of mine. And I've made so far every kind of thing that I've earned money with out of a hobby. And here we are now as a personal trainer, and so far this has been and is the best job I've ever done. I can help people, I'm interacting with people, but at the same time I'm working from at home. I'm my own boss. I can schedule my own day, and this gives me the freedom that I need, because I always had issues with authorities above me, especially the ones that I didn't really respect and that they had no business in actually being in that position. And I think I'm 100% certain that nearly everyone who listens to this vlog will nod their head, because they can think of a person in their environment who's in the same spot as my chefs were in the past. Incompetent people in positions that aren't suited for them. And yeah, what I'm doing right now gives me the freedom to not be around those individuals anymore. So yeah, but anyway, let's continue with the programming. So here in the background, I have my calendar, right? And the calendar gives me a good overview of where everyone is in their mesocycle. Sometimes this will change when we are adding, for example, another week to the mix. This can always happen, of course, along the way. I'm someone who always likes to add another week into the mesocycle if it's feasible, if that individual is recovering well, and if we can push for that additional week. And this will always show itself throughout a mesocycle. This is something that you hardly ever can plan for. So, and then how we sometimes approach the 5th week or the 6th week even is that if the individual is uncertain about it, whether they have it in them, then we're just saying like, okay, let's go for the 5th week. We can still move over to a deload if we realize like after 2 sessions, it's simply not in the cards anymore. And then right now I have a spreadsheet open of one of my athletes here. And we are going to do a little bit of editing here and a little bit of programming for them so that the next mesocycle is ready to roll for them. Something that I haven't shown you guys is, of course, the breaks that I'm having in between and also the training sessions. But this is just something that I wanted to spare this time. Of course, I'm going out on walks. So the day looks like this. Normally, I wake up in the morning, have a coffee, go out on a longer walk, come back, have a whey shake, and then go to do my first training session. Once I'm coming back, I'm actually sitting down and doing my client check-ins first. Then after that, if I'm finished, and after that, once I'm finished, I'm actually going down, having something like a little snack or so, maybe another coffee, maybe going out on another walk, and then getting back to work, maybe doing a little bit of programming and all that kind of stuff, right? Once I'm done with that, having my lunch and then going back to work. And there's always something that you can do. We are always working on some kind of a project, or we are active over on the member side, or working on another presentation, working on content creation for Instagram, member side. There's always something, right? Right now, I just want to give you an overview of what a typical day kind of looks like. There's probably no value to you in seeing how I'm doing a presentation or so. This is, of course, also happening in that week. But the majority of work as an online personal trainer is, of course, taking care of your clients. And that takes up a lot of your day already in it for itself. And then there is, of course, kind of promotional kind of things, because you are a brand and you want to sell yourself. And this is most of the time as an online personal trainer happening over these social media platforms. And I'm the best in that, as you guys know. Social media is my thing, right? And that's what you have to do as well. Like content creation. Of course, you don't have to. We know plenty of good coaches out there who are just good coaches, and that's enough for the majority of people who can deliver with their good work. But you have to actually be good at letting other people know that you're doing a great job. And this is where the art comes into play. And this is also where I think many people are struggling. And on a contrarian perspective, those who are actually very good at selling themselves are most of the time the ones full of bullshit. And I'm sorry, this last clip was not sharp all the time simply because I had manual focus on. And to be honest, I can't be bothered to re-record the entire thing. Sorry, guys. One more thing I can talk about, and that is going through client update pictures, right? Is when you're in a gaining phase, and I see that misconception so often. Like I just had it recently that I posted a before and after transformation picture by my man Sam, and he has been in a gaining phase since March of this year and has been gaining 6.5 kilograms so far, and he is looking leaner. And then there was someone commenting on that picture and saying like, he clearly doesn't look bigger. But the thing is that many people are also here absolutely screwed of the perception of what social media tells them. When you're looking bigger, that doesn't automatically mean that you've built muscle mass, because fat mass and also water takes up so much more space in a short period of time that you can appear to look bigger. But most of the time, this comes along with those tissues instead of muscle mass gain. We as natural athletes, we gain so little muscle mass in such a short period of time, and I'm speaking or referring to like from March this year up until now, which is October. It's still a very short period of time, but we have other indicators that we are looking out for, such as taking girth measurements, pictures, also how clothes fit, and also your own self-perception of the way you look, right? And then taking those things, it's more of an accountability tool. It doesn't tell us how much muscle mass we are gaining, because we are speaking about millimeters of muscle mass changes and muscle mass gains in that time frame. This is something that your eye, the human eye, can barely notice. And if someone says or claims that he's able to detect muscle mass changes in such a short period of time, he is full of shit. This is something that the natural eye can't really detect, because just imagine, we are really speaking about millimeters of change in regards to putting muscle mass on. And this is something, while you may appear bigger, this has mostly more so to do with fat accumulation and also water retention. So if someone is actually blowing up, posting a before and after picture, like after 6 months, and he is now 20 kilograms heavier, someone is posting like, yeah, good job, you've built so much muscle mass. Yeah, but still, it's not impressive when you have gained a lot of fat and unnecessary fat alongside with that. Whereas in regards to Sam, for example, he is actually looking leaner, which is a huge indicator for us, alongside with those girth measurements and also the performance, right, that we have built a significant and solid amount of muscle mass in this amount of time. Because if you look leaner at a higher body weight, so 6.5 kilograms heavier, and you look leaner after 6 months in a gaining phase, is it now 6 months? 6? No, 7 months now in a gaining phase. Then this is a clear indicator to us that you have built muscle mass, right? We can't really see it. We can't really say like here on the chest, here on the glutes, there's a little bit more of muscle mass. No, this is not how it works. We can only compare ourselves to former selves. And most of the time, this is something that we only have to do once we are under the same circumstances. So what I mean by that, you have a picture of you from like 3 years ago. You've been weighing the same weight and you've been in the same spot in regards to gaining phase, for example, right? And now you weigh the same and you are also in a gaining phase. Then you can compare yourself to that and see whether and where you have gained muscle mass, because then it becomes very much apparent. But in 6 months, it really doesn't. It's more like a guesswork and more like, I think that we've gained muscle mass, and that's why I can pinpoint like, yeah, here the chest is now bigger. And if a coach actually acts that way, it's meant in a nice way, in a kind way, in a more empowering way. And I totally get where that coach is coming from, right? Because no coach wants to tell his client like, yeah, I can't really see that we've gained enough muscle mass or a lot of muscle mass. No one wants to be that coach, of course, right? But to say like, yeah, we've built a lot of muscle mass here, when in reality, you've gained 20 kilograms and the majority of thing is just like fat and water, and you can't really tell how much muscle mass you've actually accrued, it's kind of deceiving in my opinion, right? The only time that you can truly tell whether you've gained muscle mass or not is either when you're weighing more and looking leaner, or when you are weighing the same weight and you are in the same circumstances. First, then, it's actually valuable to compare yourself to the former you. Before that, not so much, especially when you are, let's say, in a cutting phase, and in the past you've been in the gaining phase. In the gaining phase pictures, you probably look a little bit bigger, a little bit, I don't know, you're fuller because the glycogen stores are full, right? Whereas in the cutting pictures, you are probably quite depleted, and it could be due to higher stress levels that you actually look worse than maybe a couple of months back, right? That's why it's so important to have those metrics at hand and then make a good call, like after a long period of time, how much you've progressed or not. Before that, you can't really do that. You simply can't, right? And this is basically what all of my clients are seeing. So this was just a very rough overview of what a day in my life as an online coach looks like. This is just like scratching the surface though, right? And just giving you a glimpse of what it may look like. It's not just sitting at the beach, drinking pina coladas, of course, right? And I didn't really include all of the things that are actually happening on a day-to-day basis. But once again, I just want to give you a rough idea of what it is that is actually taking place on a daily basis. And it's
in it for itself, it's a desk job. So very boring actually overall. So I'm not walking around, I'm not going to meet some people like in real life. All that glamorous kind of stuff is not taking place as an online coach. Maybe for the influencers, but not for us. So this is it for this week. Thanks very much, guys. If there's anything that you guys want to see, leave it in the comment section below. Other than that, as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. Always helps, you know that. And I guess I speak to you next time. Cheers, guys.